welcome back to my channel. It's Christina at Homeschool and Grace, and today is another weekly update, but instead of just for 1 week, it's 2 weeks. I did not get week 12 filmed before week 13, so I'm just going to squish them together. So, for a little backstory this last week, my youngest had to have ear tube surgery on Monday, and then Friday my third daughter, who has a cataract, and I'll link the video here of her journey with a congenital cataract, or here, one of the places. Anyways, she had to have one of her ophthalmology appointments, and those take a long time and they're exhausting. So this week has kind of been crazy. And last weekend my husband had to work Saturday, and so that's not my normal filming day, so I had to skip it for last weekend, and so that's why they're getting squished together, like I said. So let's see, anything else that happened. I thought I would try and do like every day kind of what we did, or the days that we actually did school, but I think that'll be too much because, well, I'll share. So last week for week 12, we ended up skipping, we tried to do a 4-day week with like Fridays as either co-op or like a makeup day if we need to get some extra stuff done, or we'll have friends over that day and just, I guess, having a big fun PE day, play day, game day. But so we ended up having friends over Friday, and my husband had to work Saturday, so we decided to, since Friday wasn't our makeup day, we just do school Saturday since he wouldn't be here, and it was a rainy day. So we ended up doing that. So I don't feel locked into a Monday through Thursday or Monday through Friday or Tuesday through Friday schedule. I kind of, whatever days I need to do school, we do school. So if we don't get it done on the traditional days, we'll do it the non-traditional days. If we don't get it done in the morning, we'll do it in the evening. We are very flexible with our schedule. If we have a schedule in our mind, and I'll link a video here, I can't remember. Anyways, I'll link a video of our block schedule. So we always kind of have that in the back of our heads of like the process of our days, but the time can always be different. It doesn't matter when it gets done. We just get it done when we can. So that takes a lot of the stress off of me of I have to get school done on these days when I can really do them any days I need. Okay, so let's get started to the actual school weeks. Okay, so my 4th grader is still working through Creation to Greeks for weeks 12 through 13. Okay, so I'm so glad to be back after the holidays. I always feel like January is a fresh new month. I mean, obviously it is a fresh new year, fresh new month, and I always get excited because I always know that this time of year there's this like jump in their learning all of a sudden. Like, it's things that didn't click last year, all of a sudden they have that break, and it gives their minds enough time to like relax, that all of a sudden when we pick it back up, there's this like zoom into learning again. I always find it really fascinating. It seems to happen each year, so I know like, okay, if my one who is trying to learn to read right now in December is struggling in January, they're going to take off, and that seems to be it. Or they're struggling in math, all of a sudden they're going to take off in January. I don't know why it is. Maybe our brains need that relax, and there's some science to it. I have no idea. Okay, so if you remember my 3-layer cake for learning, so for Bible, I'll start out with that. Still working through this guy, a little beat up. She started learning about the 10 plagues, and if you do not follow, if you're not part of the My Father's World Facebook groups, you need to join, especially if you're using My Father's World, because I decided to go through all the files and find any files that would work for us, and I wish I would have done it at the beginning of the year and like printed everything out. So anyways, someone went through and found all the plagues, or figured all the theological overview of it, and I didn't even know this. Okay, I didn't know that the plague that God would teach or was showing Pharaoh or having happened to Egypt would counteract the god that they were worshiping, the false god, in Egypt, because they had so many, and so they had one for, all of creation, it seemed like, and so he was like saying, I'm bigger than this God, I'm bigger than this God, I'm bigger than this God. And so someone listed it all out and what the meanings were. So there's 3 pages of it. Woo! And I thought that was so cool because I had no idea that that was the meaning behind it. I apparently have not studied the plagues enough. So that's been exciting for me, and I feel like teaching has made it a lot more fun. And we've added in little things to make it more fun. They give fun little like frogs and a lot of suggestions to make the plagues more fun. Or I shouldn't say fun, but more hands-on and interactive to really solidify those lessons. But we did some and we haven't done them all. Next is English. So let's move on to that. Okay, so another file that I found on the My Father's World Creation to Greeks Facebook group is a schedule for the vocab words for the testing, because they have you test them, but sometimes I've tried in the past to just do them all at once, and she can't retain them all, because like now we're to, I guess she's to 12. So I feel like she starts getting mixed up. So this breaks it down so you can do it in groups of 4. And so I like that. I'd rather, because she can definitely remember the first ones, but as we're getting more and more, she's forgetting them the more that we get through. And so this will make it more like we can solidify just practicing 4 at a time instead of all of them. So that was a cool resource. This has been, I still really like this, language lessons for today. I feel like there's a mixed review on it, but I've always really liked it. So she learned one point about like commas and direct address. So we watched this funny video I found on YouTube, and I'll try and link it below, but about the 3 bears eating Goldilocks. Instead of let's eat Goldilocks or let's eat comma Goldilocks, it's let's eat Goldilocks. And so it was really funny teaching on that, and so we've learned commas save lives. That was a fun lesson this week. I don't know if I've shared in a while, but we're still going through Natural Speller. I really like the layout, and it's really simple. It's just lists, and I just go through, pick a list, then she works through them for a week, and she writes them out for 3 days. The 4th day she has a test, and I wrote out. So I got this 3 subject notebook, so I wrote out what I want her to complete with it. So she needs to look at the word carefully, or how to study a word. So look at the word carefully, say the word distinctly, say the word in syllables, copy the words neatly, and then say each syllable, picture the word in your mind, and then I have her write sentences on day 3 with the words. So that has been helpful, and it's just really simple, and so it's been good for her. It's taken a lot of the stress off of spelling for me, because we have tried All About Spelling, and we've tried, what else? She did Rod and Staff in 1st grade, and it was too much for her. And then we did spelling UC, and I didn't care for it because it was so much teacher intensive, and I feel like I've got enough of that. I needed something I could say, here, write your words and say them. This has been way more helpful. And we're still working through this, and I'm noticing she had her pencil grip wrong, incorrect, and I feel like since doing this book, her pencil grip is getting much better, and so it's been really helpful for her school, and I'm hoping once we get through this, it will help her to start writing a little smaller. I feel like we're getting to that point where she can write a little smaller, and so I'm hoping to start teaching that after this. Okay, so that was our main cake. Now on to the sprinkles. No, it's not. Forgot about math. Okay, we finished. Yahoo! She did all her unit tests and final tests, and so we are done with beta. Praise the Lord. I am so glad to be done with beta. And so now she'll be moving on to gamma, and she says she's a little nervous, but I think she'll do great. I mean, it always starts out slow, so it should be easy enough. Okay, now really on to the sprinkles. So I thought I'd share our read-alouds that we've been doing to start out with. So she's learning about Bach, so this is a fun book. Lives of the Musicians. So this kind of went into music lessons, and so if you get the deluxe My Father's World, they come with all these CDs of the different musicians that you'll be studying. So we were able to listen to the story of Bach, and we read this, and then we also watched Xavier Riddle's Secret Museum. I think that's what it's called. Anyways, they have a video on Bach, and so that was really fun to watch and just learn about his life, and I didn't realize he had so many kids. That was cool. He loved coffee, so that was another fun thing to learn about. You can see how much I'm learning by teaching all this. It's really fun. We've gone back to Story of the World. I don't know if I've shared this before. We've kind of off and on read this, and then again with the files on the Facebook group, they someone wrote out all the chapters to the weeks that you can read them, and so I was like, awesome. So I've been able to pull this out, and we've read some. We've been reading it either for lunch or at nighttime. That's when we do our read aloud, so that's kind of fun. I don't know if I'm a huge fan of this, but it's just a nice another book to read more about what we're learning about in history. We're finishing up this book, Star of Light by Patricia St. John. I love this book. I've loved both books that have come. I have never heard of her until we did this Creation to Greeks this year, and it makes me want to go get more of her books. So they just are excellent for adults and for kids, I think. So if you want just something simple for you to read that's rooted in a biblical worldview, get some of her books. And we picked The Golden Goblet back up. We're so close to finishing. No, we're not. Let's see. We've got 50 pages left. We can totally do it. So I'm hoping week 14 is going to be our week to finish this book. It's a really fun story, but for some reason my kids, it's just not totally their cup of tea, but I really want to find out what happens at the end, so I'm kind of making us push through it when they're kind of done with it. Okay, so that was for my 4th grader, the read alouds that we're doing. For her personal reading time, she's reading American Girl book, Real Z, I think it's called. So she's liking that one. So 2 more things that we've added on, or sprinkles I guess, are God and the History of Art. She's really liking this, and I like it too. I think it's it's a really well done way to learn art with a biblical worldview. And so it's quite a bit of reading, which she doesn't mind because she likes to just sit and listen to me read aloud. So she'll normally color a picture and I'll read, or she'll do some kind of craft. And then my husband had the idea for her to do a current event. And so we get World Kids Magazine, and so I decided to have her pick an article from this once a week, and she can then present it to us at dinner time, and she's really excited about that. So that'll be fun. I'm not going to have her write anything out. She can just talk about it, and she'll just read one article and tell us about it. So, and we get the World Magazine, I guess, for adults. I don't know. So she's like, okay, Mom, now you do yours this week too. So apparently I have to pick an article and present it to the family at dinner. We'll see if I do it. So that was a lot. Okay, that was my 4th grader. Oh my goodness. This video is going to be long. I hope it's not too long. Okay, whoops. Learning God's story for my 1st grader. Okay, she is really we are full into her Bible reader and her Bible notebook, and she's doing really well with this. And she's, I think, enjoying this for the most part. We're still just on like the first day, but I always really enjoy this one for learning the Bible. So she's into this. So part of it is they take words that they're going to be learning from it, and to help them practice them, you like write them out on flashcards. So we've been doing that, and then we're just playing games, these Ziggy games. I say this every single week. So she's using these. We use these to practice the words. It makes school a little longer instead of just me showing her the flashcards, but it definitely makes it fun to use these. And these 2 have been her favorite ones to use lately. She is my math kid. She loves math, so that's been really fun. She's actually really into workbook math, not necessarily the games. And so, okay, whenever this is recommended, we're doing a lot of this because she just really loves doing math pages. And like the longer the math pages with just like this problems, the better. I mean, she just really enjoys math, which is completely the opposite of my oldest. So that's been kind of fun to see their different learning and interests in learning. For one to be so math-minded and the other not. So, but that's been fun. Okay, so I talked about Bible. She's doing her Bible reader. There's still a few devotionals we're doing from this, but not quite as many as it used to be. And there's still, I feel like she gets a lot out of them, so that's been nice. And we're still adding this on when we can. This time there was a whale story. And so thankfully they had a big whale story from in here to talk about it. I really like this one. Okay, and she's also learning the books of the Bible, just a brief little summary of them. And so that was all for Bible and math, and then English also is tied into that. For science, we have not been doing the experiments. There haven't really been many, but when there are, we haven't been doing them, but she has been. We will just read the story, and then if I can find read-alouds that go along with it, I'll add those in for our lunchtime. And so that's about all the science we're doing. And my oldest is not into science. And lately the experiments have been kind of complicated, and so we've just been, I open it and I'm like, oh my word, I need so much stuff to make this experiment work. And I don't have the energy to do that. So we have not been doing science like I had hoped, but we did this. Oh, I wanted to share one last thing. Okay, my first grader is loving this. Smart Farmer. I shared on the last video, like I don't even know what she's learning from it, but she really loves it. And we have like a mandatory rest time after lunch, and she said that she'll just sit and play with this and work through the problems, and she's just really enjoying it, and so she's asked for another one. And so I may order her another one here soon, just so that she can keep up that interest in these, because they're so fun and hands-on. So that is everything for my first grader. Okay, moving on to my preschooler, my pre-K-er, Voyage of Discovery. Okay, so she has been still working through this for Bible, and then she'll learn a song from this, and then we'll work through this. And if I have any other books that can go along with the stories, I'll add those in. So this last week, I love these little arch books, and if you follow me on Instagram, I shared it, but we read this one about Gideon. We read about Gideon, and the stories are always kind of fun and sing-songy, and I really like the artist for this one. I feel like the artwork's really neat. So we've added, whenever I have one, and I really want to, I think you can subscribe. They have like a subscription where you can get these books, like so many a month, and I want to look into it and get that, because I just really like using them for like our lunchtime read-alouds. So this was all of her Bible, and a lot of them always have a hands-on aspect to it, the lesson, and so that's been fun for her. The one she's liked the most, and she wants to do every day now, is a little prayer box. And so she'll pick out a name, it says Mommy, and then she'll just pray, and it's so sweet. It's so sweet and precious. And she'll have me pick a name and have me pray, and so that's been really fun for the hands-on side of just learning to pray for others. Moving on, she learned these last 2 weeks about H and I don't know if I've shared these recently. I got all the Alpha Tale books. I found them on Amazon, and I feel like they were pretty reasonably priced, but each one is about that letter, and then she can look for the letters, and I can tell her to find, hide and seek hippo, or the iguana on ice, and so I have her point out the I's and the H's, and they're cute little stories to add to the lessons. And we also are still using these nature cards, nature activity cards. Oh, whoops, there we go. And so H is for heart and I is for insect, which H is for insect worked out because H is for heart, because I had heart stickers so she could make her H with heart. And then I is for insect, and we pulled out the old kindergarten cards that she'll be using next year. And so this was a good introduction into insects. she was like, she is not my bug kid. She was like, ugh. And you see all the different bugs and you have to match them. And so she was happy to find the ladybugs. That was about it. Okay, let's see. One last thing. Okay, she's still working through counting. And so, again, if you follow me on Instagram, I shared this one that we read, 2s, 3s, and 4s. And so she's been learning about the number 4. So this was a fun book to see what comes in 4s and 3s. I'll link all these books and stuff that I'm sharing if you're interested or want to find them at your library. I love having extra books that kind of help go with what they're learning about that week. And we don't always get to the library because I have kids that destroy books. So I'd rather just find them cheaply, and if they destroy them, I'm not having to pay someone else. It's just my loss. So, okay, that is it for my pre-care. Last one. My preschooler is still working through all aboard the animal train. We are on week 4 for her, and she's learning about bears and the color black. And so that was a lot of fun for her. So I have Paul Galdon's The 3 Bears, so we read this one, and then the curriculum came with the 3 Bears book, so that was kind of fun for a compare and contrast. I just love his art. She is my one that's going to need a little more because she just loves doing school, and it never feels like enough for her. So I've printed out some extra coloring pages when I think of it, and so she colored this, and I printed out a bear one for her to color. Whenever it called for cooking, I didn't want to go cook. So instead I would hide. I had these black bottle caps. There you go. So I have a bunch of these, so I had her search for them in a big bin of rice. And then I also had her search, I have a big jar of buttons that I keep, and so I would have her sort out the black ones from all the others, just again to help recognize colors, and then also it helps with counting. And I think we're done. I think we got through everyone. I don't know how long this took. It took a long time. But I hope that was helpful for you in your own homeschooling. You know, where are you guys at? What week are you on? What's your favorite subject to teach? Here is a playlist of all these videos that I've been doing on our weekly updates. And here's another video. Go check it out. And I'll see you next time. All right, bye-bye.